What's going on, people? It's Jeff back here again. And something compelled me to make another video today. I've been making them the past few weeks here and there. Mainly been making them on different subjects like 5G and the magnetobiology, coronavirus, biology in general, as far as how the body is able to create antibodies against infectious organisms. I wanted to change the topic. I wanted to talk about the knowledge and advancements in technology that already exist for self-sustainable living. Okay, there's so much out here, and the fact of the matter is it's not getting focused on by our elected representation. And before I catch hell, yes, that's a cigarette in my hand. We all have our vices. I know what it is. I'm not saying it's good, because it's not. But back to my point of subject. I just want to name a couple things that if we had true representation, the elected officials that we call governors and senators, presidents, and all these other governmented official seats of power that's supposed to represent we the people, the best interests of us. I mean, we're called a free and independent nation. Name one thing that we do for ourselves, that we don't turn to a corporation or government organization. There isn't. But let me bring from the shadows into the light a few subjects. Okay, let's start with hydrogen cells. The knowledge behind it. How simple it is. I'll show you a couple little ones that I played with. I ain't been messing with these in a while. Haven't really been able to finalize any of them because I need quality parts, and quality parts takes money. And in this fixed society where it's by design to barely make ends meet, we don't have much to play with. Okay, these are just a couple I've made at home. I've actually had these running, but like I said, I just pulled this out of a storage container from when I had my business, and I actually had them up and running. Okay, what is a hydrogen cell? How's it work? Okay, a hydrogen cell. It works by applying an electrical current to water. And what happens is the electrical current splits molecular structure of the water, ultimately creating a gas from the water. Okay, what you have to do, it ain't just water. I mean, it is just water, but then you got to add an electrolyte, something that raises the pH of the water, like baking soda or salt. Because if you add baking soda or salt to water, it raises the hydrogen molecule content, the substance within the water. Just like you hear the term pH, and normally it's like on a swimming pool or an aquarium or a hair product. pH stands for potential hydrogen. So basically they are measuring the potential hydrogen molecules of the substance. Okay, so if you add baking soda or salt to water, it raises the hydrogen content of the water. And basically what happens is when you apply an electrical current, because you got the two wires coming in, and these wires would be connected to a negative and a positive on a battery, which would go down into the electrodes. Okay, the positive and the negative doesn't touch. There's a space in between, which allows for the splitting of the molecular structure of the water. Basically, the water being hydrogen rich creates kind of like a lubricant to help split the hydrogen and oxygen molecules of the water. Because like the positive electrode will pull oxygen molecules, the negative will pull hydrogen molecules. So it basically, on this one here, that's why I have that little fitter with a hole in it. Because when the electrical, because this would be submerged down in the solution, the hydrogen-enriched water. What would be coming out of the top of that would be hydrogen gas, which is flammable. So if I'm able to create these little ones, because here's another little cell, and this is just made from little shit I had laying around my house. Stainless steel. I mean, shit, this one's made out of literally butter knives. My point being, you could take a battery, run the cell. Cell would create the gas. The gas could be fed into the carburetor of a small motor. Small motor could power multiple alternators. Those multiple alternators could be powering a battery bank. So basically this would be creating over unity electricity. It'd be creating more electricity than what is going into the cell. So my point being, our vehicle should have been ran on this. I mean, there's so many little things like hydrogen cells that have existed for decades, but just aren't being focused or applied. And just like the simple fact of water turbines, water motors. Okay, here's another little one. Just something I tinkered around with. You see this right here? It's a ceiling fan motor. If you take this apart, you take the stator out, you basically have a coil on the inside. Electricity goes into these wires, creating a magnetic field in the electrical coil, and it spins the stator, which is fixed outside of the coil, which allows for a ceiling fan to spin. Well, did you know that if you take the stator out, the part that allows for the field to force the fan to spin, and you fixed it with magnets, and you take anything that would cause those magnets to spin, whether it's wind, whether it's water, natural movement, that instead of the electricity coming into the coil and spinning the stator, if you spin those magnets, which you got to do it reverse polarity, a negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, all the way around that coil, and you spin it, that would basically create a magnetic field that would be pushed into the coil, which would allow for electricity to be coming out of the wires. Free electricity. We could have those little things like that fixed in our hot water tanks, our hot water lines. I mean, they could be fixed on downspouts that every time it rained and the water comes down that downspout, it could be turning a little wheel, creating electricity. Exercise bikes. They could be fixed with an alternator. The alternator, when you're just on a bike riding, it could be creating electricity. That could be charging a battery bank, which we could be drawing our electricity out of. Free electricity. But that's my point. This knowledge has existed for a long time. This knowledge has been known. It just gets no focus or application because society's too focused on all these different circuses of entertainment designed to steal our focus, to not have us question. Because I live in a city that's on the Ohio River. And that's the thing, is all these rivers exist through the entire all mass land masses have some form of a body of water moving somewhere. Why aren't we applying water turbines, charging and powering cities for free? It's because corporations can't monopolize it. We got things like solar panels. Why aren't these being focused on? It's because the simple fact is our social structure is fixed. Our elected representatives aren't focusing on the best interests of we the people. We're fed this ideology that we're free and independent. Please tell me one thing that we do for ourselves that doesn't involve an elite corporation or a government organization. We don't. Not our food, not our water, not our energy. Things could be different. When do we take shit back in our own hands? We could be living. I want people to Google and check out Michael Reynolds' Earth Ships. Because just this understanding of how we could be living 100% self-sustainable by our own hands, these Earth ships, puts the power back into the individual's hands. Whether it's your food, your electricity, your water. This is my intentions and my plans. If heaven forbid something doesn't happen to me, and I'm able to do what I've been planning for the better part of a decade, I will create my own self-sustainable eco-village. That'll be loaded with little tiny homes. You know, you could be taking yard sheds and converting them into tiny houses. These little Earth ships, mobile homes. I mean, we could be having our own greenhouses. Obviously, I'm just freestyling, just the ideal behind it. Like hot water heaters. Did you know if you take something like a coil from an air conditioner, from a furnace, that you could paint that black and cycle water through it and have the black spray painted coil expose the UV rays, the sun, and the sun would heat up your water for you. And of course your pump would be running on a battery bank, which is created by whatever application that you have at your means, that you apply. Whether it's solar, whether it's wind, whether it's hydrogen cells. All of these could be applied to charge a battery bank. I don't know, guys. Just look into the things I mentioned. Hydrogen cells, water turbines, wind turbines, solar panels, Earth ships. Because this is how we take our power back. Stop waiting for the corporations or the government to hand you this shit, because they're not going to. They're going to keep you tied into a grid. They're going to keep you focused on these circuses of entertainments. And I'm not even going to get into the biology because go watch my other videos, because that'll break them down. Because the knowledge is there. It's going to take for you to focus on it. You to apply your awareness. Be conscious over yourself. Who gives a shit about all these fucking entertainers, these sports? And I'm not saying there ain't a place for entertainment, because there is. But the fact of the matter is, our priorities all kind of fucked up in our country. Not only our country, but the world. It's... Get your shit right. Realize your full potentials. Realize what already exists. Because they're not going to do this shit for us. Realize that your knowledge is your power. Okay, because knowledge is key. Your health is your foundation. Your belief is your success. And your wisdom is power. Know your full potentials. Look into these things I've mentioned. Ask questions, because ask and ye shall receive. I wish the best for all. I love you guys. One love.